Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Make Lemonade with your host, John, and today we're going to be talking about pressure of life. So, what happens when pressure comes into your life, and how do we handle it? And is it good or is it bad? So, let's get into it. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to Make Lemonade, and my name is John, and today I'm going to be talking about pressure. And like we said in the beginning, we're going to be talking about pressures in life. Are they good or bad? What do we do when we have pressure? So let's get into it. So first of all, and most of all, we all go through this, this is just something to say so that you don't feel or think that you're by yourself, because we all go through life and we all go through the same things because we're all one species, and that is humans. And so we all go through pressure. It's something in life that we can't run away from. We can't do nothing about it. So might as well learn how to manage yourself within pressure. One of the main things that comes to my mind when I think about pressure is diamonds. Diamonds are made by pressure. And so what makes you a diamond? Well, the pressures of life. And that is the important thing that I want to talk about today, because I want to talk about pressure in a positive way. Because, there's so much pressure and negativity, bullying, and, being negative about people, and people pressuring you to do things that are bad. all that stuff is bad. But what I want to talk to you about is about the good pressure. And that is the pressure, and what do we do in that moment? And because, it's a thin line to define pressure between good and bad. And I think that playing with that fine line can be dangerous. So might as well learn from the good side of pressure and how to manage it in our own lives. So one of the things that I want to talk about is, how do we manage ourselves when we have pressure? And so there are so many ways, but what I want to focus on is always self-control. Above everything, self-control. So many people I've seen have pressure and literally just go berserk. Life for them is too much and too stressful, and can cause them to get sick, can cause them to have, major breakdowns. And, one of the main things that, people, causes them to get sick is actually things that they believe mentally. And so it's really astonishing when you're thinking about that many of the things that we think about that create this pressure in life are caused by our own imagination and thinking. Not so much your imagination, but mostly your thinking of what you're believing is happening in your own life that makes it come into reality in the forms of sickness, in the form of diseases. And we don't realize those things, and we decide to blame things that weren't the cause in the first place. So self-control is my choice of first key of saying, this is how we manage pressure. Having self-control of self. Why is that important? Because if you can manage yourself and your feelings and your mind, the way that you think, pressure is not going to be hard for you to manage with anyone else. Because once you learn to manage yourself, it's like saying, if you are faithful with the little things, when it comes to the big things, it's going to be like a breeze to you. So if you start right now to self-control yourself, when you get to the point of going into the big pressure, You already know how to manage yourself. So that pressure is just going to be another pressure that you just manage in the same way that you would manage something that is, smaller, but in a bigger state. I hope you're staying with me in this point, because self-control is key to pressure. Now, when we are going through pressure, it goes into an aspects of growing our character. That is the positive side of pressure. When you have pressure from every side, your character is being formed. Why? Because you have choice. Choice is very, very important when we go through pressure, because at any point you can decide to do the wrong thing for the pressure that you have at that moment in your life. For example, let's say you have family issues, and from your family issues, everybody wants you to be a certain thing. You have your parents, they want you to make money, they want you to be successful, but inside yourself, you're like, well, that's not what my heart is telling me, or that's not what I want to do, but I'm gonna do this because my family or my parents is telling me that it's the right thing for me to do, and don't get me wrong, parents are telling you they want the best for you. There's nothing wrong with the parents are telling you. I'm not telling you to go rebel against your parents. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: respect their opinions or thoughts, respect it, honor your parents, because that's what they're there for. They're there to guide you, to lead you, and sometimes our leaders are not perfect and they make mistakes. So always respect what they say, and the main thing, keep yourself open mind to have multiple opinions, but always make sure that your heart, your mind are in the right place to make the right decision. Because through those pressures of people telling you things, of different voices coming into your mind, can lead you to the wrong place. So make sure that your mind is in the right place, your heart is in the right place, so that you can make the right decision. Because if you don't, and you get all these pressures of voices, and you can really, really make the wrong choice. And like we were saying, as for the example, you could choose the wrong career. So what happens when that pressure comes? One of the key things that I just said right now was you have to be in the right mind and your right heart. Why is that important? Because your heart can deceive you. If you don't know that, your heart can deceive you in so many ways. I've seen so many people right now in social media who are saying, this is what I want to do. I'm turning my hobby into something that I'm doing. And guess what? They're mixing up something that they do on the side as their full-time job versus something they're supposed to be doing in their life, and they're not doing it. But they're getting people's voices in their head that are telling them, you can do this, you can, make your hobby your job. And guess what? You're mixing up two different things: hobby and your job career. When did ever a hobby turn into something that makes you a millionaire? If that from the beginning everybody knew that your hobby would make you a millionaire, everybody would be, leaving their jobs and becoming millionaires with their hobbies. But guess what? That doesn't happen. Why? Because this is why. People have found different ways to make money, and because it worked for them that one time, and it's people are liking them and they're seeing results and all this stuff, they went for it, and they're telling other people, hey, look, do what I did. This is what I did. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I am telling you is, don't be misled because your heart is saying this is what you want to do. Because what if that's not what you want to do? Then you put yourself in 2 to 3, 4, 5 years doing something that at the very end you're going to be like, this was really pointless. Now, I've heard some people say, to people who are in the 20 years old, they're like, you have 10 years to do whatever and mess up and do this. And that, when I hear that, at first I was motivated by it. I was pumped by it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go and try. And guess what? It's not a something that myself I should have followed. Because why? I was thinking and letting my heart mislead me was something that it was getting excited about instead of being my mind and my heart in the right place. And that is, what is good for me at this moment? Where am I at? And what are the steps that I need to take? And that comes with planning. Remember, anything that you want to do, if you want to make your hobby your career, which is not something, it's not bad. I'm not, talking down on these people, and I'm not against them. I believe you can make money off your hobby. But what I'm saying is this: make sure that you plan something before you just go ahead and do it. Because if you don't plan and you just jump into it, yeah, you have the possibility, and you're gambling here with your own life and years that you're wasting. But if you plan, I'm pretty sure that you're going to see how much it costs, not just financially, but time, family, people. It's going to mess with a lot of your life. So are you willing to sacrifice those things to get to this place? And that's the choice that you have to decide. Because there's some things that you choose that are not going to be fun. You're going to be working 24/7. You're going to be doing this 24/7 in social media. And let me tell you something. If it's not something that you love, it's not something that you really want to do, it's going to be very draining, frustrating, and you're going to hate your life for those years that you're there until you'll make it. And then you're like, boom, I made it. And then you turn around and telling people, look, I made it. I went through this stuff, but you can make it too. And guess what? People are going to do the same thing you're doing. They're going to hate their lives. They're going to make money at the very end. And you're probably saying, well, that's what's so bad about that. Well, guess what? They're going to be hating their life the whole time because they're never doing something that they love. All they do is they like the results of them making money. But what they're doing is not something that they really want to do. So what happens when that happens? That was just weird. I just said it twice. What happens? That means that down the line, they're going to want to do something else. And what happens with that something else? Another thing that they have to plan. And I'm not saying this is bad. What I'm saying is here, you got to think, are you willing to go through that? Are you willing to see how your life is going to turn out? Or are you going to close your eyes and just walk blindly and hopefully you end up on the other side of the street? That's what I'm saying with this. So have your mind open and in the right place, and your heart open and in the right place. And always receive as much counsel as you can from people who are older, and people who have gone through these situations of jobs. And don't go to people who haven't done it. Go to people who have done it or who have had their experience and see what you can get off them. Because sometimes when you go to people who don't have the experience, you have another gambling situation where they can tell you a good part, do it, you can do it. Or they can give you an advice that will just scare you and you won't do anything. So that's the only reason why I say be careful with getting those advice. I would suggest that you get advice from people who have done it. Make sense? You with me? So we're talking about pressure of life. We're our whole lives, we have pressure our whole lives. We're developing ourselves, our whole lives we're growing. We're, being introduced to different things every day. So is pressure good or is pressure bad? Well, I say both. Pressure can be good or bad. Pressure can, again, lead you to something that is bad, and pressure can lead you to something that is good. Again, life is about choices, and what we choose will lead us to those directions. Again, I repeat this to you. Have your mind in the right place and have your heart in the right place. Because, believe me, if you let those things go, real quickly, you will run or you will fall into the wrong places, the wrong people, the wrong hands. And that's not what you want to do. So I encourage you, I implore you, please have your mind in the right place and have your heart in the right place. because it's very important, because there's a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of people who are saying things that sound very intelligent and very, clear, and you can understand it, and you're like, oh my gosh. And being young, we're receptive to a bunch of things that people say just because it sounds good, just because it has some epic music behind what they're saying, or it's covered with the beautiful movie or cinematic, or and talking about cinematic things, or movies, we look at Cinderella, we look at all these Disney movies that we grew up with, or that I grew up with, and like Lion King and all this stuff, and all these things have the simple matter. For example, Lion King. How messed up was it that the uncle killed his brother, or the brother killed his brother, and then tried to kill the kings, or his brother's son, to take over his property, in other words, right? And it's crazy. We don't think about that, but it's an awesome movie. I mean, it won so many awards, it won so much money, but you don't think that the situation that happened was pretty messed up. What about the other one, Cinderella? Or like Beauty and the Beast. She falls in love with a monster that is a beast. And you think about it, well, did she really fall in love with the beast, or did she fall in love with the person that had power? And there's so many things that we can argue within those, matters, I want to say. My point is, there are so many things that are disguised beautifully or intelligently. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But I hope you're getting what I'm saying, that you need to have an open mind to hear out, but also you need to have your head in the right place. And the right place is always on the right things. That's what I mean when I say in the right place. Because if you are at a place where you're confused, you don't believe in anything, you're going to fall for everything. So as crazy as this may sound, I have my belief. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. And that's where I stand. That's where my character is built. But that's what I believe. And, I would suggest, to do the same, follow that. But of course, that's your choice. Again, we all have a freedom to choose what we want to believe. I choose to believe what the Bible says. I choose to believe those things. And again, you choose to believe what you want to believe. And if you don't believe in anything, and you just go by what everyone is saying, you're never, ever going to find a place of your own, but you're always going to be like the waves, back and forth, never finding something steady to stand on. So guys, pressure is a good and a bad thing. We become diamonds within pressure in life. And one of the main things within life is to have self-control and always have your mind and your heart in the right place. So guys, I hope that you take this with you and take it where you go, teach it to others, share this with others, because, all we do here in Make Lemonade is try to encourage people to become the best version so that they can do something amazing in this world and make it a better place. Not only for us right here, right now in the present, but for those in the future, because what we do now can really hurt the people who are growing in the future. So this is something that we need to do, or we need to listen to develop our character and develop what we're doing, and to make good decisions so that people don't suffer because of the bad decisions that we make. So that is it for today. This is your host, John. This is Make Lemonade, and I hope that this encouraged you, and I also hope that you have an amazing day. Peace.